Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, Steve Reed, he is the Housing Secretary, took over from when Angela Rayner parted in bad terms. He was sent out to do the morning round, media rounds, trying desperately, and it must be said unsuccessfully, to defend David Lammy. Lammy, if you remember, on Wednesday did the most disastrous PMQs you could imagine, and was failing to answer all these questions about the prisoner release, etc. And he lied. He literally lied at PMQs. It's come back to haunt him. Lammy's had to go out and apologise and sort of set the record straight, but that was an even bigger disaster. So now they've sent Steve Reed out to try and fix Lammy's apologies and put in the record straight. Couldn't make this up, could you? Unfortunately, Steve Reed couldn't quite clear up the mess either. What was Lammy's, quote, strongest checks ever, you see? People were asking him this. He said they were meant to have been put in place. But nobody really knows what they are or when they were put in. Lammy certainly doesn't, because that was one of the things he lied about. But Reed said, the dates of this, that and the other, he said, what's important is that there's been hundreds of people who have been released who shouldn't have been released because we have a paper-based system. These new checks can minimise the risk. He says. However, these paper-based things aren't paper-based. They haven't been paper-based for some time. Lammy vowed on the 27th of October that after the Hadesh Kabatu accidental release, my arse, that stronger checks would be immediate. And yet, Brahim Kador Cherif, the guy that came out a few days later, wandered away free on the 29th. This was 2 days later, having already been told that those stronger checks were in place. Seems that was rubbish. In fact, Lammy later said the checks weren't in place until after that guy's accidental release. Lammy then tried to explain that the actual exit there was nothing could be done, there was a mistake was made, the strong checks hadn't been enforced, blah, 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 blah. Turns out, though, it's all bollocks. These stronger checks had been in place for some time. It's just that they were rubbish strong checks. One could suggest they weren't very strong at all. One could also suggest that Lammy hasn't got a clue what he's talking about, that Lammy's an idiot, that Lammy is a liar, that Lammy is an incompetent fool, and that even Starmer and the rest of them are starting to realise this. And it's very, very hard for Steve Reed to constantly correct and update all the things that are happening, because as he's doing that, Lammy and the Department of Justice are also trying to do it. And it's like, for God's sake, will you shut the F up? But Reed went on to say, really, for as long as we've got a system that's paper-based and broken, it's like there'll be very many more mistakes. But it isn't paper-based anymore. But anyway, they're trying to now spin it to the fact that Lammy was speaking to the best of his knowledge. Well, God help us, because we know that the best of his knowledge is, well, shit. And it's got to the point now that cabinet colleagues are briefing against Lammy. They're all starting to come out now and say, well, yeah, he is an idiot, he is a moron, and that his time will soon be over. And not a moment too soon. Thanks a lot.